All right, so two work equations. The difference is what we're doing today are working with our word problems. So the problem, or the more difficult thing with the word problems, is you got to read what the problem says, and we got to get the two equations. So in this case, it says a rectangular swimming pool width that is 6 less than its length. The perimeter of the pool is 84 feet. What is the length of the pool? All right, so the first step, we got to get our two equations. So usually, each equation is kind of its own separate sentence. You know, you've had to write like expressions and stuff like that in other grades, and it's kind of doing the same type of stuff. So it says width is 6 less than the length. So width is, so I'm going to go W equals, because W would show our width, is means equals, 6 feet less than the length. This is a part or a type of thing where y'all a lot of times make mistakes. When it says 6 feet less than the length, is that 6 minus the length or the length minus 6? Yeah, it should be the length minus 6. You know, if you have, I don't know, if I have $10 and you have $6 less than me, you don't do 6 minus 10, you do 10 minus 6, right? So since it's 6 less than the length, you do length minus 6. All right, so there's our first equation. Second equation, it says the perimeter is 84 feet. How do you find the perimeter of a shape? Add in all the sides. How many sides are there on a rectangle? 4. So how many widths do we have? 2 widths. How many lengths? 2. So when we write an equation for that, we got 2 widths plus 2 lengths equals 84. Now, if you really wanted width plus length equals 80, not 85, equals 84, that would be the same thing, okay? Either one really works. I am going to use that first one though. All right, so then the other thing that gets kind of a little tricky, I would still write them with W because that lets you know which one's length, which one's width, right? Helps you keep straight on that because it's only asking for one of them usually. When we use Desmos though, what letters do we have to use? Y and X. So it doesn't matter which one you make which, but you do want to know which one's which, okay? And you want to use the same thing for each one. So I'm going to say W is Y, L is X, okay? Everybody good with that? So then if I got W equals L minus 6. So that's going to be Y equals X minus 6. Y equals X minus 6. And it graphs that line. For the other one, the perimeter problem, we had 2W plus 2L equals 84. So that would be 2Y plus 2X equals 84. So 2Y plus 2X equals 84. 84 is a pretty big number, or bigger than a lot of these, so we got to kind of zoom out a little bit. Just like anything else, we're looking for where they cross. So they cross at that ordered pair, 24, 18. So the solution to this is our ordered pair, kind of. We got 24, 18. All right. What's the question asked for, though? The length. So the question is asking us for the length. Y'all, which letter do we say was the length? Well, L, but for our ordered pair. X. X is our length, right? And that's why I wrote it that way so we could remember. So that means my length would be 24. Okay? Could they have the exact same problem, ask you what the width is? Yeah. So you got to be able to answer either one. It's from the same ordered pair. You just got to know which one's which. This equation here, that came from adding up all the sides. Length plus width plus width. So there's two of each. Any other questions? Yeah, it could ask you for both length and width. In that case, usually it's like ordered pair or something like that. So a lot of times the word problems generally only ask you for one though, but they could ask you for both. Let's look at another one. Y'all give this a try. Get your two equations first. Everybody get the two equations. So we got a rectangular backyard, a length that is 3 feet less than 4 times its width, and the perimeter of the yard is 344 feet. We need the length of the yard. So when you're looking, there's one equation. There's where your other equation comes from. Like I said, the two separate sentences. We got the length is, so I'm going to put it as L equals 4 times the width, so 4W, and it's 3 less. What it says 3 feet less, so that means we're taking away 3, just like we were saying on the one before. And it says 4 times, that means the width is being multiplied by 4. Okay? So we'd have L equals 4W minus 3. All right, so our second equation is the perimeter. We got a perimeter of 344 feet. Who thinks they can give me that equation? Think about the problem before and how we find perimeter. So we got 2L plus 2W equals 344. Remember, if we're adding up all the sides, we got a length, a width, a length, a width, right? So length plus width plus length plus width, we got 2 of each. So again, if you wanted to write it as L plus W, that works for the perimeter also, okay? All right, so now those are our 2 equations. We got to make one of them y, one of them x. Just since the first one's L equals, I'm going to make L the y, W the x. It really doesn't matter which one's which as long as you keep straight which one's which, okay? So who can give me the answer then? Yeah, 137. So, Ethan, you had it right. You had the right order pair. You just got to remember which one's which, okay? It's asking you for the length, so that's what we want to make sure we're getting. In this case, all right, so in this case, I'm saying the length was y, the width was x. If you put them differently, then it would be flipped around. But what we have, our first equation, y equals 4x minus 3. So I got y equals 4x minus 3. Then I've got 2y plus 2x equals 344. 2y plus 2x equals 344. Again, bigger number, we got to zoom out. There's our ordered pair. We got 35, 137. Most of these equations, the x value is what we've been looking for, right? These word problems get a little trickier in that case. Sometimes it asks for the x value, sometimes it's asking for the y value. So you got to pay attention what you're doing and what it's asking for. If that's our ordered pair, that's the x value, 35. The y value is 137. If we go with what I said here, that means our y value is the length. That's what we're looking for. Everybody good with that? All right, so now just to show you, what I'm going to do is I am going to make L the x value, W the y value. That's a bad y, but we get the idea. W the y value, okay? So if I do that, what that's going to change is I'm going to have x equals 4y minus 3. It doesn't make a huge change here, just kind of on our order with how we wrote it, but that doesn't really matter. And if you look, it's crossing at the same 2 numbers, okay? So that's why it's important to keep straight which one's which, because if you switch it around, you still might get the same numbers, but it's going to make a difference on which one of those is your answer each time, okay? Any questions on that? All right, so let's look at another one. A lot of times money or stuff like that where, comparing how many things people have. So we got Kevin and Joe in this problem. So our first sentence, we got Kevin has 5 less than 4 times the amount of money Joe has? Kevin has is basically saying like Kevin is, okay? So it's Kevin equals, okay? So Kevin equals 5 less than 4 times the amount Joe has. So Joe's is getting multiplied by what number? 4. It says 4 times, right? So 4 times Joe, and it's 5 less, so we're taking away 5. So I got Joe, or 4 Joe minus 5. Together, they have $110. So that's my next one. Together, they have 110. If we're talking about their money together, what type of math are we doing? Adding, right? It's the total. So Kevin plus Joe is 110. All right, so this is one where it's looking for, right? We still might have to know which one's which, though. Because if it's multiple choice, it could say like another, and then it could just flip the numbers. So let's say Kevin's our Y value, Joe is our X value. As long as you put the equations in correctly, like I said before, it doesn't make a difference. It'll just change the order on our ordered pair. So we got Y equals 4X minus 5 equals 5 plus Y equals 110. All right, so we're looking for where they cross. That's where they're crossing. That means one of them has $23. The other one has $87. Right? Everybody go with that part? So when we have 23.87, how much money does Joe have? 23. Joe was X. How much money does Kevin have? 87. Kevin was Y. All right, just keeping straight the ordered pairs. Everybody kind of following on this? The hardest part really is getting the equations. The next hardest part is keeping straight which letter's which. All right, I'll try this one. Kathy and Jason. We got to use Kevin and Kathy has 2 less than 3 times the amount of money Jason has. Together they have $34. All right, so we need our 2 equations first. So our first equation, coming from that first sentence. Who thinks they can give me the equation? Carlia? Jacob? No. Yeah. So I'm going to put with the K and the J, though. Some of you are saying Y and X, but we'll do it with the letters first. So K equals, and it's 3 times Jason, and it's 2 less. That means you go minus 2. Order matters for subtraction. 2 minus 3J and 3J minus 2 are not the same thing. So you got to make sure it's in the right order. All right, so our second equation then, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Second equation is coming from right there. So who can give me the second equation? Yeah, together they have $34. So we're doing K plus J equals 34. All right, so it's asking you how much money does Kathy have? So, y'all go ahead and get the answer. You know how much Kathy has. How much does Kathy have? Nope. 25. All right, so like I was saying before, when we put it in, we've got to make sure we know who's which letter, okay? So if I make Kathy the Y value, Jason the X value, that's what we're looking for. What letter am I looking for my answer then, X or Y? Y, because it's asking for Kathy, okay? So we got, what was it? Y equals 3X minus 2. So Y equals 3X minus 2. And we got Y plus X equals 34. So where they cross at 925. A lot of times these are ones we also have to type in an answer. Again, keeping straight which one it is. Got to be careful with that. As we said, we're looking for the Y value, so that's the 25. The other way you can look at it, once we got 9 and 25, Kathy has more than Jason, right? If we're taking Jason's and multiplying it by 3, Kathy's going to have more money than him. So Kathy's got to be the higher one.